Okay, Hare Krishna everyone. So we are reading chapter 5 of Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. So I will not spend too much time recapping this chapter. We have done that a few times. So please read on your own. The basic outline is that the chapter opened with Arjuna asking this question from Krishna, whether to renounce work or to work with renunciation. So Krishna told him very, very clearly, there was no confusion, there was no obscurity in Krishna's words. He was very clear, very firm on this that actually better than renouncing work is to work with the spirit of renunciation, work with the spirit of detachment or with the spirit of tyag, and that's called karma yoga. He said that's an easier path. In fact, renouncing work prematurely when you're not ready, when you're not qualified to renounce work, that can actually cause dukkha. That can actually be very difficult. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of purity, and that path can be difficult for the ordinary people. So what is recommended for maximum people is to work with renunciation. In the last few, so just let's recap the last uh, 2 3 verses. Krishna said that such a person who is working in my consciousness, who's working with renunciation, who's giving up the results of their action to me, such a person is never entangled. So he's giving us the benefits of karma yoga. Such a person will never be entangled. They will not get any reactions because they're not working for themselves. They're not working in a self-centered or self-conscious manner. They're working for Krishna consciousness. They're working in service. So that kind of nishkam karma will not bring them any material reaction. So they will not get any sins or piety, either positive or negative reactions. Um, and such a person is very learned. He will see that the soul is living inside the body and is doing so many things like seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, sleeping, breathing. But actually, all those are the functions of body. So soul is just helplessly engaged in the bodily functions, and soul itself has no role in any of this. Soul actually does nothing at all. So the soul is just captured within the body, it is trapped within the body, and the senses are the ones that are doing everything. And soul is just in the bodily conception thinks that I am doing it. So such a jiva who is trapped in the body, who is a conditioned soul, a baddha jiva, thinks that he is the body, that he is the one doing everything. But a learned person, liberated person understands that the soul actually does nothing at all. It's the senses, the bodily covering that he has acquired is doing all these things. And we talked about working for senses versus working for Krishna. So when one tries to just gratify one's senses, just fulfill the demand, the urges of the senses, then that's called lust. But when one understands that I am not this body, I'm Krishna's servant, and instead of becoming the servant of senses, he works as a servant of Krishna, then that person is engaged in love actually. So that is called love or prem or preeti rather than lust or calm when one is engaged in just serving their own senses. Okay. So that was verse 8 and 9. Verse 10, one who performs his duty without attachment. So, this is a Nishkam Karma Yogi. He surrenders the results unto Supreme. He is unaffected by sinful action, just like the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So, here Krishna gave an analogy that such a person, even though he's living in muddy water, in the in this contaminated world, in this world where there are so many demands and urges of the body and by the people and by the world around us, so many impurities, so many contaminations, but he still lives in this world being untouched by the world, just like lotus leaf is untouched by the muddy water. So lotus leaf does not get contaminated by the mud of the muddy water. Similarly, such a person works in this world. He's engaged in work, just like other people are engaged in work, but his work is for service. His work is for satisfying Krishna, not satisfying his own senses, and so he is not entangled, he is not contaminated by the reactions of the world or by the problems of this world, contaminations of this world. Now Krishna will explore this point further for us. He will explain, he will open up, unravel this point more for us. So we will understand what is our position, how we are struggling in this world. But the liberated person is actually free in this world. Even though he is living in this world, he is liberated. So we will understand the position of a Baddha Jiva or a conditioned soul versus a free soul, a liberated soul, or a Mukta, Jivan Mukta Jeev. Okay. So let's just get started and you will see what we're talking about. So please recite after me. Kaena manasa buddhya
कायेन
कायेन
मनसा
मनसा
बुद्ध्या
बुद्ध्या
केवलैर् इन्द्रियैरपि
केवलेन्द्रियैरपि
केवलेन्द्रियैरपि
योगिना कर्म कुर्वन्ति
योगिनः कर्म
कर्म
कुर्वन्ति
कुर्वन्ति
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये
सङ्गं
सङ्गं
त्यक्त्वा
त्यक्त्वा
आत्मशुद्धये
आत्मशुद्धये.
Somebody read this translation.
May I read?
Yes.
Translation. The yogis abandoning attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification.
Let me just show the translation. So we were talking about yogis, karma yogis, or liberated souls, people that are acting in service for satisfaction of Krishna. They are not acting for sense gratification. They are not acting for enjoying the results of their action themselves. They are not attached to the results of their activities. Okay, such people are called yogis here. Okay, they are yogis. So, such yogis abandoning attachment, okay? So, they do not have any attachment either to the work or to the results of the work, okay? Please remember that. They act with, so they're everything. They're kaina means body, kaya or body, manasa, mind, buddhaya, intelligence. So, their body, mind, intelligence, even indriya means senses. So senses are part of the gross body only. So basically their entire body, gross body and subtle body, everything is absorbed in service of Krishna. So they act with everything only for the purpose of purification. Sangam tyaktva. So if you look at the Sanskrit, with the kaya, manasa, buddhi, indriyerapi, also with the senses, yogina, karma kurvanti. They do their actions Sangam tyaktva, by giving up the attachment. Whenever the word Sangha comes in our Vedic literatures, typically it refers to the bad Sangha or the Sangha of the material world. Okay, it does not refer to Satsang. Typically, if Satsang is mentioned, that means spiritual association. That means association with spiritual paraphernalia or Krishna related paraphernalia. But when the word sangha is used, it typically means attachment of the material world. So sangam tyaktva, by giving up the attachment of this material world, which means by giving up attachment to the work itself or to the results of the work, atma shuddhaya. Atma means self-purification. They work only for the purification. So they basically want to get gradually purified through the work that they are engaged in. So such is the mood of a yogi. Whereas other people are getting more contaminated by their work, these people are getting slowly purified. Can you read this purport also?
Purport. When one acts in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the senses of Krishna, any action, whether the body, mind, intelligence, or even the senses, is purified of material contamination. There are no material reactions resulting from the activities of a Krishna conscious person. Therefore, purified activities, which are generally called sad achar, sadachar.
Sadachar.
Yes, sadachar can be easily performed by acting in Krishna consciousness. Shri Rupa Goswami, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sandhu, describes this as follows.
I can read this. Iha yasya haredase karmana manasa gira nikhilas api avasthasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. So please note this is the definition of a jivan mukta soul, jivan mukta purusha. Okay, we'll talk about it in a few. Yes, please continue.
A person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna, with his body, mind, intelligence, and words, is a liberated person, even within the material world. Although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities, he has no false ego, for he doesn't believe that he is this material body or that he possesses the body. He knows that he is not this body and that this body does not belong to him. He himself belongs to Krishna and the body belongs to Krishna. When he applies everything produced of the body, mind, intelligence, words, life, health, etc., whatever he may have within his possession, to Krishna's service, he is at once dovetailed with Krishna. Dovetailed with Krishna. He is one with Krishna and is devoid of the false ego that leads one to believe that he is the body, etc. This is a perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. Hari Bol.
So Krishna in the last verse gave the analogy of lotus flower. Okay, how lotus flower lives in the muddy water but does not get contaminated. Now he's further explaining that analogy, that how this yogi, this person is a liberated person because he's acting without any attachment in this world. He's using all his resources, his body, mind, intelligence, everything in service, in satisfaction of Krishna for the purpose of purification. Okay, so he will get purified. Now, we have talked about this many times that externally a Baddha Jiva or a yogi will look similar. Okay, they both may go to work. Okay, let's say there are two teachers, one is a yogi, one is a karmi. The karmi person is also a teacher or a lawyer or a doctor or whatever their profession is. They are also working in this world. The yogi person is also a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, or some other professional. Okay, but their internal intention of why they are working is different. Okay, how they are not attached to the results of their work is also different. How they give up those results for the satisfaction of Krishna, in the service of Krishna, all that is different, and that is not something we can perceive externally. So just by looking at two people, I cannot know this person is yogi or this person is karmi. Okay, one has an enjoyer tendency. They want to just enjoy with the money they get. They just want to do the work for their own satisfaction because it pleases their own mind and intelligence or senses or their own loved ones, etc., or because it brings them some name, some fame, some followers, some wealth, some position in the society, things like that. They just want to look good in the world. So those kind of things, that is a self-centered way of working. That is not for service. That is not for gratitude. That is not out of love or satisfaction of Krishna. Okay, that is a karmi person with an ordinary person with typical 99% people will be like that. We are trying to become, according to the Bhagavad Gita's instructions, we are trying to become a yogi whose internal intention is to satisfy Krishna. So when we go to work, whatever line of work you are in, our intention is to please Krishna, to satisfy Krishna with our work. Okay, to whatever results we get, to offer those results, whether good or bad, in service of Krishna. Okay, to not complain, criticize, get disappointed, discouraged, or blame when something negative or bad happens. Okay, when we have failure as part of our work, and not to get puffed up, arrogant, take all the credit when something good happens as part of our duties, as part of our responsibility. We just do it for satisfaction of Krishna to the as best of our ability as possible. So that is one thing that externally you may not be able to tell the difference. Next thing is, okay. So such a person who is working with this intention, who is working for satisfaction of Krishna, Prabhupada is saying, Krishna is also saying that such a person is a yogi, such a person is a liberated soul. And Prabhupada is giving us further evidence of this, that such a person who works with the karmana manasa gira, okay, with their body, mind, and words, when they offer their work to Krishna, Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate, that person is a liberated soul even within this material world. So liberated person even within this material world is nothing but that lotus in the muddy water, right? Liberated person. Everybody else is an entangled person, impure person, because they're getting contaminated. They will do actions and they will get reactions. But for such a liberated person, since his actions are for satisfaction of Krishna, he will not get any material reactions. He will not get any karmic reactions. Okay. He has no cosmic debt on him. So he will not get any reactions, good or bad. So, which means he is not entangled. And somebody who's not entangled, somebody who's not bound, means he's liberated. So, such a person is working in this world, but he has made himself, his body, mind, and words, to be an instrument of Krishna's will, Krishna's desires. He's doing it for him. Krishna is his master. So he's working to satisfy Krishna. So such a person is not bound, not in bondage, but liberated. Then Prabhupada is saying he has no false ego. Okay, you understand that false ego means to think that I am this body. Okay, this person is in true ego. True ego means to know that I'm not this body, I'm the soul, I'm part and parcel of Krishna, I'm servant of Krishna. Okay. And as a servant, whether I live in this world or spiritual world, my duty is to always serve Krishna. To not forget that role as a servant, whether I'm here or in spiritual world. So even here, he does not deviate from that position of being in servitude to Krishna. So he has no false ego. He is working as a servant of Krishna in his true ego. Okay, so he knows that he's not this body. So one thing he knows is that he's not this body, he's servant of Krishna. Second thing also he knows, which many people don't understand, he knows that he does not possess this body. Okay, he's not the proprietor of this body. He cannot claim this body. The ultimate claim of this, yes, we have some proprietorship over this body, but the ultimate owner, the master, the proprietor of this body, the supreme proprietor, is Krishna, which means this body has been given to us right now by Krishna for his service. This body is an instrument to be used in his service. So all the resources given to this body, whether it's the mind, whether it's the intelligence, whether it's the skills, the talents, the whatever, the acute senses, very sharp senses, whatever somebody has, okay, all that aspects of the body, or even bodily extensions like family members or community or the country where you have been placed. All these things are not my property. I do not possess them. They are just an instrument for service of Krishna. I have been given these things to use in the service of the original master, the original proprietor, the original maintainer, okay, just for this lifetime, just for the time being. So I cannot lay ultimate claim on these things. So that's why Prabhupada is saying when he applies everything produced by the body, everything he may have within his possession to dovetail with Krishna. So dovetail with Krishna means his desires are perfectly aligned with Krishna's desires. He's devoid of false ego. And this is perfect Krishna consciousness. So such a person is a Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate. He's liberated even while living in this material world. Let's keep going. This concept is further explained by Krishna in the next verse. So 5.12. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva. Yukta karma phalam
Phalam
tyaktva. Shantim apnoti naishtikam.
Shantim
Shantim
apnoti nashtikam.
Ayukta kamakarena.
Ayukta kamakarena.
Pale sakto nibadyate.
Pali sakto nibhadyate.
Can somebody read the translation?
I can read, Mataji. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled.
So as you can see, this is the same concept, explain more. So let's look at the Sanskrit. We discussed this word before, yukta and ayukta. Okay. So yoga means connection with divine. Okay. Yoga means to connect with the Supreme, with the divine consciousness, with Krishna. That is yoga. So it can be through actions, karma yoga. It can be through gyan yoga. It can be through love and service, which is bhakti yoga. It can be through dhyan, through various control of various breathing and body postures, when it is called ashtanga yoga. So like that, there are different ways to connect with the Supreme. The topmost is when one connects with love and service to the Supreme Lord, and that is called bhakti yoga. Regardless, yoga, when somebody is situated in yoga, that person is called yukta. Okay, a yogi or a yukta. Yukta means they're always connected to the Supreme. So that person is referred here as yukta. Ayukta means somebody who is not connected to the Supreme. So he's a person of this world. He's entangled in this world. He's working in this world. He's doing things for himself, for thinking that he's the body, doing things for his body. So what does he do? Ayukta, what will ayukta do? Kam karena. Kam means lust. Okay. Kam means enjoyment, for personal enjoyment. Kam karena. So he will do actions for his own personal enjoyment or sense gratification. Okay. Now, sense gratification can also be extended sense gratification. Prabhupada often mentions this. Not in this purport, he has not, but many, many times Prabhupada mentions that extended sense gratification can also be like just for my family, just, focused on my country or just focused on my community. So not really connecting things or people or society or country with Krishna, but thinking this is mine because I'm born here, or because this is my family, or because this is my clan, this is my society, because I'm born here, because I am this body, so my body belongs to this land, so I have some duty towards that land. So that is also extended sense gratification only. Or I'm born in this gender, so I have only duty towards this gender. Or towards this profession because I'm attached to this profession. So this is called bodily designation. So when somebody works just for the body or bodily designations, then that's just kam karena. So they're just working for personal gratification basically. Such a person is ayukta. They're not connected to the Supreme. They're not taking things in relation to Krishna. But yukta person, karma phalam tyaktva, they know that everything belongs to Krishna. Okay, nothing is theirs. Neither this body, nor their family members, nor their society, nor their country. They are here just for the time being to serve Krishna on his behalf. They're here. So such a person, shantim apnoti naishtikim. Okay, so then they will get shanti, they will get peace. Naishtiki. Naishtiki means unflinching, long lasting, okay, uninterrupted. Shanti or peace they will achieve. But the ayukta person who's working for sense gratification, personal gratification, they will be nibaddhate, means they will be, they are asakt, they are attached, and they will become entangled because they're so attached to just this body or just this family or just this, me, mine, mamata. This is their mood, that just whatever is related to this body is mine and everything else is separate, is different, is other than mine, like that. So that is a yukta person. So then in translation, Krishna is saying that such a steadily devoted soul, meaning yukta person, will get unadulterated peace, meaning uninterrupted, pure peace, shanti, nashtiki shanti, because they're offering their results to me, because they are phalam tyaktva, karam phalam tyaktva, they're offering their results to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with divine, ayukta, Kam karena, he works for Kam. Kam means he's greedy for the fruits of his labor. He has something to prove in this world. He becomes entangled. So he will constantly be anxious, fearful, be very worried about everybody's judgment, very worried about the results, very attached to the dualities. There should only be success and no failure. There should only be money and no lack of money. So only ups and ups and no downs. So very much entangled in the world, with the goods and bads of this world. Okay, Mataji, can you continue the purport?
Yes, sure. The difference between a person in Krishna consciousness and a person in bodily consciousness is that the former is attached to Krishna, whereas the latter is attached to the results of his activities. The person who is attached to Krishna and works for him only is certainly a liberated person, and he has no anxiety over the results of his work. In the Bhagavatam, the cause of anxiety over the result of an activity is explained as being one's functioning in the conception of duality, that is, without the knowledge of the absolute truth. Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. In Krishna consciousness, there is no duality. All that exists is a product of Krishna's energy, and Krishna is all good. Therefore, activities in Krishna consciousness are on the absolute plane. They are transcendental and have no material effect. One is therefore filled with peace in Krishna consciousness. But one who is entangled in profit calculation for sense gratification cannot have that peace. This is the secret of Krishna consciousness. Realization that there is no existence besides Krishna is the platform of peace and fearlessness. Hare Krishna.
This is a very beautiful point Prabhupada is saying. The cause of anxiety over the results of an activity is explained as being once functioning in the conception of duality. So remember, this world is a world of duality or dvandva. Okay, there will always be ups and downs. There will always be sickness and health. There will always be success and failure, loss and profits, right? Goods and bads, victory or failure, like that. So there will always be poverty or riches. There will always be duality or dvandva here in this world. Unlike spiritual world where there is no dvandva, but material world is a world of duality. So this duality, if person is attached to this material world, they're attached very much to the results of their work. They will be in the conception of duality, meaning they will be very attached to the results. So they only want good results, right? Because they're very attached to the results. And good and bad definition has been decided by the world. If somebody makes so much money or somebody has certain this type of status in the world, they are considered a success. Or if somebody has this much bank balance, they will be considered a success. But who decided these things? Just the people, just the regular, ordinary people of the world have decided that to live in such and such country is successful, or to live in with so many rooms in the house is successful, or to have so many children is successful, or to have so many cars, or this brand of car, or this number of this much money is considered successful. And so we are always trying to meet those standards set by the world, which are not which is just an illusion created by the world. It is just an illusion created by the world. It's like a donkey chasing that carrot which is hanging in front of him, and he can never catch it. So we're always chasing the illusions of this world, and we are always very attached to being so-called happy, or so-called successful, or so-called money, or so-called riches of this world. And so such a person is always just trying to cater the demands of the world. Okay, they are very attached to what will people think. They are very attached to the judgments. They are very attached to only getting positive results of a certain action. So that brings anxiety, that brings fearfulness, that brings depression, that brings that gets people discouraged. That's why people become so morose when something does not go well. That's why people go into so much depression these days, right? Because they could not meet the so-called standards that were set by the illusory standards that were set by the people around them or the world around them, because they thought that is the result they needed to achieve. And so they're trying to achieve that result and struggling very hard in this conception of duality, but never able to fulfill it, right? So this is the cause of anxiety in this world. But when you let go of that, when you just do your best, when you're trying to satisfy Krishna, and Krishna is easily satisfied. If he is your employer, if he's your master, he's satisfied even if there is failure, as long as you did your best for him, as long as you did your best job with your, used all your resources in service and satisfaction in pleasing Krishna, he will be easily satisfied. So he's an easy master. He's a loving father. He's not a hard-hearted boss or a hard-hearted employer. He's a loving father. He's easily pleased by whatever you offer to him. So suddenly all the anxiety, all the fears, all the disappointments, all this, undue expectations created by the world, all these things fall away because Krishna is actually very easy to please. So that is why Nashtiki Shanti or eternal peace can only be achieved by trying to satisfy Krishna and not by just trying to satisfy either your senses, either the people around you, or the standard set by the world. If you're trying to satisfy any of this, it will be a lost cause. It will just bring fears. It will just bring anxiety. It is an illusory race in which that you can never be a winner. So if you want to really win the race, then you better run for Krishna and not run to meet the expectations of the body. Senses will never be satisfied. They'll pose more and more demands on you. They'll create more and more urges for you. Mind will never be satisfied. Intelligence will never be satisfied. If you're trying to enjoy in this world, you think I go, travel here, travel there, do this or do that. The standard of enjoyment will keep increasing in this world. If you think you will be successful if you get this particular brand of car, within a couple years that will be changed, and now you have to the bar will be moved up, and now you have to buy some other car or some other number of bank balance or some other number of promotions or level of promotion in the company to be called successful. So all these things will keep changing, and if that's what you're trying to achieve, then you will always be anxious, always be fearful, always be depressed, always be dissatisfied. But if you want satisfaction, complete peace, complete fearlessness, then you should work for Krishna. So working for Krishna is the best policy. You're Krishna's servant, not the servant of your senses, not the servant of the people, not the servant of this world. If you serve Krishna, automatically all these other things will be satisfied. So somebody can say, but I do want to serve people. Yes, but a yogi can serve those people better than a karmi, because yogi, when he serves Krishna, he actually sees everybody as servant of Krishna, everybody as part and parcel, a child of Krishna. So he can serve those people better. He can serve his senses also better when he eats prasadam or when he hears Hari Katha. He can serve his senses also better. He can serve the world also better if he understands his position as a servant of Krishna. Other people who just work for themselves, who just work for body, who just work for a certain outcome, they actually bring a lot of unrest in the society. They create a lot of dissatisfaction in other people also, in the world also, and that is one of the reasons why there is so much anxiety, so much fearfulness and depression. So this is the formula of happiness, formula of peace that Krishna is giving here. Does anybody have any questions, or can we keep going for a couple more?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I just ask a question? And maybe I'm just seeking your opinion.
Yes.
And there may not be an answer. So this verse that is talking about anxiety, and we discussed about depression. So Mataji, is it like in reference to what we feel as sadness or distress or unhappiness on day-to-day basis, or can this be applied even to the clinical settings like clinical depression, clinical anxiety, or that is different? Just something to...
Mataji. So, very nice question. And I have often wondered about this. I have actually asked about it also. So when you say clinical depression or anxiety, okay, as a doctor, my understanding is that there are certain in our body, there are many chemicals, okay? I won't say the names and all, but you probably are familiar with like dopamine, serotonin. There are many chemicals like that, okay? Neurotransmitters. So those are malfunctioning in the body, and we try to and we say that this is causing somebody's anxiety or somebody's depression. That is what we often call clinical depression or clinical anxiety, and we treat that with medicines. But our scriptures tell us, okay, that the bodily manifestation that happens, okay, our bodily manifestation that happens, remember that our body is being animated by the soul, okay, by the soul. The body can create trouble on subtle level, gross level, no doubt. The clinical depression that you're experiencing is on the gross level because these neurotransmitters are released in the gross body, okay? But our soul is the one that's animating the body. If the soul's needs, whatever the soul, if the soul is dissatisfied, if the soul is not in congruence with its ultimate role, according to our scriptures, then that will manifest as problems in the body. Okay, according to our scriptures, if we are misusing the body, if we are not aligning with the purpose of the soul, okay, if you're not spending time on spiritual activities, if you're just living in this world, then that will start showing up in our body in various ways. Okay, for example, of diabetes, or of high blood pressure, right? If we are living our life in such a way which is not in harmony with the divine consciousness, in harmony with our spiritual nature, okay, let's say waking up late, eating junk food, eating let's say colon cancer happens because people eat a lot of meat, right? So the soul is basically suffering within that body because you are just catering to the whims of the body. On a subtle level, when somebody is working in this world in such a way that they are not able to, that they are just catering to people. For example, I just want to meet everybody's expectations. I just, from the from my childhood, let's say, I have been wired to fulfill, let's say, my parents' expectations, that I have to always secure the first rank, or the expectations of my neighbors, that I have to look very beautiful. I don't know, I'm just saying something. Or that I have, by age of 25, I should have a car and 100,000 in my bank, and and should be married with two kids. Whatever. I'm trying to live up to those expectations. I may not be living in harmony with my original nature. Okay. I'm very entangled in this world. I'm catering either to the whims of people, whims of my senses. I'm living a very incongruent life. I'm living very materialistic life, not a very spiritual life. That will show up in my body in different ways, whether gross problems or subtle problems. Okay. It will cause disturbances in the body, in which different chemicals are not released properly, neurotransmitters are not released properly. It will start manifesting in the body as that clinical depression and anxiety. Okay. So we are part, and we are living inside this body, and we are not using the body as the body should have been used. Okay, we are using this body, exploiting this body for the purpose of this world. um, we have made it a servant of this world. So we are feeding it whatever people told us: eat meat, drink alcohol, okay, or work extra hard from 4 to 10 in the evening, work 120 hours a week. All this will show up as clinical depression, clinical anxiety, or hypertension, or diabetes, or cancers, or tumors, right? All these things will show up. So, whatever subtle anxiety and depression we are feeling on a daily basis is not different from what ultimately will manifest as clinical depression and anxiety, which then we try to treat with medicines. We try to bring harmony to those neurotransmitters by just treating the body. But at the subtle level, when you start feeling that day-to-day anxiety and depression, if we can control it, then if we can make our life more harmonious, more spiritually oriented, at that point, we can probably reverse those gross changes that may happen in the body. But ultimately, the body becomes so deteriorated. For example, I'll give you an easier example than depression and anxiety can be hard to understand. Let's take an example of diabetes. It's often easier to understand. We start feeling, let's say on a daily, let's say I'm starting to feel that after eating food, I feel very sleepy, or I eat 4 rotis and I'm feeling very lethargic, very tired. I have to take a nap. My energy level has gone down. I check my sugars and I realize that it's high. It's not showing up on the clinical testing yet. Okay, my hemoglobin A1C, my sugar levels on the clinical testing are coming fine, but on a day-to-day basis, I'm feeling subtle changes. So this is already an indication that at this point, things are reversible. I need to change things. I need to start living more in harmony. Maybe I need to cut down on the amount of rotis that I eat, amount of carbohydrates that I'm consuming. Maybe I need to add some exercises. Maybe I need to cut down on sugary drinks, drink just plain water, those kind of things. So it is reversible. But if I ignore these little subtle things that are happening on a daily basis, it will get to a point where the body has now gone into full-blown diabetes, and now I cannot go back. Now I need help from external measures through insulin, through metformin, through other medicines. Okay. Now I need a very strict diabetic diet where before I could have just curtailed some food products and things. So these little things that we feel are a sign that maybe we need to change something, maybe something that is against our values. We are doing something that is against our values. Maybe I need to change my lifestyle some. Maybe I'm um, not grounding myself. Maybe I'm spending time with some people that are very harmful to my consciousness, which is creating anxiety or fearfulness or this depression that one is feeling. Listen to those signals before it becomes a full-blown clinical depression, anxiety, or whatever other medical problems like that. Does that make sense, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
So yeah, and a lot of times it may be hard, like especially with depression and anxiety, because mind is a component of subtle body, but it is a part of the body ultimately, and these neurotransmitters do affect how we feel. So we can control, just say, like on daily basis, for example, by hearing Hari Katha, people have the increase in dopamine. You can get a dopamine hit through Hari Katha, or you can get a dopamine hit through scrolling on Facebook. Both will give dopamine hit. But Hari Katha, I wish somebody could do this research. Maybe Avni will one day do this research. How long is the dopamine level sustained in the body when one hears Hari Katha or when one does kirtan versus when one is scrolling on Facebook for 10 minutes, or one is I don't know, some kind, or when one watches some movie versus one attends a kirtan. How long is the dopamine hit sustained for? But my understanding is, my personal experiences, I'm sure your experiences, that the sustainability of the dopamine, you feel on a high, on a much higher high than what the intoxicants will give you, what the Facebook will give you. They have a very steep fall also. Like after consuming alcohol, people have a shallow, like they have a high, right? They experience a high. That is why they take to intoxication. Drugs will give you a certain high. But then when the effect wears off, it's a very bad low also, right? It's a very bad low. But with spiritual activities, it's a high, it just keeps going higher. So the intoxication of spiritual activities is not the material intoxication. It's a sustainable high. It is repetitive, and it does not harm the body. It helps the body because you feel very from inside, because soul is animating the body. Soul is the electricity within the bulb. So the soul is shining bright, the bulb will shine bright. So the soul is very, active and energetic when these spiritual activities are going on. So the glow comes from within. The spiritual energy is infused within the body, and that body is then, less likely to become prone to all these ailments that materialistic things will very easily cause degradation of the body and fall down of the body. Of course, we have inherited body with, also remember that we have inherited a body from our parents, and it has certain genetic tendencies also. So there are certain toxins in the world which we cannot avoid, which we are consuming as part of our daily diet also. But there are things that we can avoid, things that are unavoidable. You cannot change your genes. You cannot change the unavoidable environmental toxins. But certain things, like what are we putting in our mind, especially through social media, through our phones, through internet, that can be controlled. So certain things can be controlled. Certain things are passed on to us as part of this body that we received. So some thoughts on this, Mataji. Anybody else wants to share anything on this?
Thank you so much, Mataji. There's a beautiful, in relation to what we're reading in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a prayer that we learned as children in India, and we grew up, that you surrender with, with your kaya, vacha, man, buddhi, and offer everything to Narayan. So, kayana vacha mansendriyarva, buddhyatmana va prakriti swabhava, karoni yadnam sakalam parasmay, Narayanayati samarpayami. So this comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, this prayer. And I was just thinking about it as we were reading that Prabhupada was saying that how we should dedicate our work through and our senses and everything basically to Krishna. Yes, thank you very much, Mataji.
Okay, let's.
I will look up Mataji. The research topic that you talked about, I will look up if I find something. It's very interesting. I would also want to know the sustenance of these chemicals, serotonin and dopamine, of doing scrolling Facebook versus doing spiritual activities. I will let you know if I find something.
Oh, yeah, that'll be wonderful. I know people have looked up, people have not looked up, people have actually studied, there are physicians that have studied the effect, like EEG changes after chanting Harinam. I'll have to look up the exact study, but how the EEG changes were and how the brain actually in the EEG, which is a gross study of your brain's activity, can reflect those changes after chanting Harinam, how the brain was more peaceful. So you know that when somebody has seizures, right, their EEG is completely, electroencephalogram is completely
Yes, Mataji.
wavered, right? It's out of alignment. But after chanting, it's very peaceful, very calm. So you can see that this person experienced really, even on a gross level, significant peace and calm.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. Okay, let's keep going, see if we can do at least one more, maybe. Which one were we reading? Oh, this one. Okay, this is nice. This is interesting. So another analogy by Krishna, 5.13. Sarvakarmani manasa
Sarvakarmani mansa
Sanyasyaste sukham vashi
Sanyasyaste sukham vashi
Navdvare pure dehi
Navdvare pure dehi
Naiva kurvanna karayan.
Naiva kurvanna karayan.
Okay, can somebody read this?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
When the embodied living beings control his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done.
So this is a very beautiful analogy. So we know we are embodied living entities, right? Embodied means a living entity who has accepted a body. So he's trapped in the body. So, such a embodied entity, Sarva Karmani Mansa. So he gives up all the activities, not only like external, but internal activities also. Manasa means like unnecessary thoughts and imaginations and flight of ideas and opinions and fears and all this also. So he's internally and externally very detached, okay? Sanyaste means he has renounced internal and external activities. Sukham Vashi, he feels sukh, happiness, while residing Navdware Pure, while residing in this city of 9 gates. So Krishna is calling this body a city of 9 gates. And Dehi, if you remember, Dehi no asmin yatha Dehi. Dehi is an embodied soul, the soul that's trapped in this city of 9 gates. So Navdware Puri, 9 gates. Naiva Kurvan Nakaryan. So he does not do anything, does not he's neither working nor causing any work to be done. So externally, again, it may look like he's engaged in so many activities, but actually, since he's working for Krishna, it's as good as not doing anything. So that's why renouncing work is not needed, because working with renunciation is as good as not doing anything. Naiva Kurvan. So he's actually not doing anything. Na Karen, nor is he causing any work to be done, because he has no like extra desires. So he's not creating any more activities to be done. And Navdware Puri, city of 9 gates. So 9 gates is the 9 openings of this body through which we perceive this world. Okay. So we perceive this world through our ears. So 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils. This is 6. Mouth, 7. 1 genitalia. Okay. 8. and one evacuating organ. So evacuating organ, anus and where you urinate from. So basically both evacuating organs together is one more. So that's 9. So these are the 9 orifices or 9 openings of the body, the 9 gates. And these 9 gates are described more in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. Please look at that. In various places in Srimad Bhagavatam it is described. But 9 gates is through how we perceive this world. We hear things, we see things, we smell things, we taste things, or we speak, we impart information. And then through genitalia, we beget children or enjoy with the opposite gender. And evacuating means whatever we eat or drink, we are processing in the body and then evacuating. So like that, through these 9 orifices, we are interacting with this world. We are exchanging information with this world. Things are coming in, things are going out. So that's why very important what we are putting in the body. It's called GIGO principle. GIGO means garbage in, garbage out. If you're putting garbage in your body, then only garbage will come out. Most people are putting garbage in their body. And so garbage comes out. Garbage can be in the form of some diseases that come out in your body, or bad words, or bad thoughts, bad fears, imagination going wild, ideas going wild, bad actions, right? Bad activities, sinful activities, criminal activities, harmful things that we do. So garbage in, garbage out happens. So through various ways in which we interact with this world, bad things going in means bad things coming out. So we are living in this body, or city of 9, which is called city of 9 gates, Navdwar Puri. But a person who is aloof, who is detached, who is in his true ego, who knows that he's not part of this body, he is servant of Krishna, he is very detached from this body. So he internally and externally, both his actions, thoughts, mind, intelligence, everything is detached. So he feels sukha, and he does not truly, he's not working, truly in the true sense, meaning to people it may look like he's working. He goes to a job, he's a lawyer, he's a astronaut, he's a physicist, whatever. He may be doing a lot of work in this world, contributing, uh, but truly he's not doing anything because he's doing it for service of Krishna, which means he's not getting any reactions at all. Na karen, nor is he causing any work to be done because he does not have any personal desires to fulfill. He has no personal agendas, personal successes or fame or name or money to achieve. So not causing any work to be done. Okay, Mataji, can you read the purport?
Yes, Mataji. The embodied soul lives in the city of 9 gates. The activities of the body or the figurative city of body are conducted automatically by its particular modes of nature. The soul, although subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, can be beyond those conditions if he so desires. Owing only to forgetfulness of his superior nature, he identifies with the material body and therefore suffers. By Krishna consciousness, he can revive his real position and thus come out of his embodiment. Therefore, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one at once becomes completely aloof from bodily activities. In such a controlled life in which his deliberations are changed, he lives happily within the city of 9 gates. The 9 gates are mentioned as follows: Nava Dwara Pure Dehi Hamso Lilayate Bahi Vashi Sarvasya Lokasya Stharvasvasya Karasya Cha
Charasya.
Charasya Cha. Sorry. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is living within the body of a living entity, is the controller of all living entities all over the universe. The body consists of 9 gates: 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, the anus, and the genitals. The living entity in his conditioned stage identifies himself with the body, but when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord, even while in the body. Shvetavasvatara Upanishad 3.18. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is free from both the outer and inner activities of the material body. Hare Krishna.
So this is, we understand that, we are Dehi, we are living in this body, so we are the embodied soul. And according to this body, we have acquired certain guna, karma, certain nature or swabhav. So Krishna is saying such an embodied living entity controls his nature, Okay, so he, instead of becoming a slave of his nature, of his svabhav, okay, he controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions. So mentally, he's not attached to those actions. Remember, we said that it is a mindset. So he's not attached to those actions. He's not attached to the results of those actions. So he's mentally renounced. He's free. He's doing work, but he's doing it as a service in a very detached way, dispassionate way. Okay. He knows that whatever good or bad comes out of this, I will do my best because I'm Krishna's servant. I have to do my best. It is my responsibility towards Krishna to do my best job. But then whatever happens, good or bad, that is Krishna's plan, that is Krishna's desire, and I have no control over it. So he mentally renounces the action and the fruits of the action. So in this way, he resides happily, neither working. So truly, mentally, since he is completely renounced, he's actually not working nor causing work to be done. So please understand this. Externally, he may be working, but internally, he has no attachment to that work at all. So, and he has no desires for himself. Okay, just to please Krishna is his only desire. So then in purport, Prabhupada is saying that so the soul is trapped in this body and is subjected to the various conditions of the body, right? The guna of this body. So for example, in this body, I have acquired a very passionate, very ambitious nature. I want a lot of money, a lot of fame or promotions or something. But then when you come to this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, that soul will understand, I need to control this nature. Okay, I need to go beyond this condition, this nature, this svabhav, which is imposed by my body. I need to curtail this. Okay, so if soul desires, soul has free will. Please remember these concepts. Soul has free will. Okay, and this will be, next few verses will explain this. Fifth chapter is slightly more philosophical. So we will, at the end or at some point, we will break down these concepts. But please understand the concept of free will. Soul has free will. Yes, soul is within the body, and the body imposes certain guna, karma, certain swabhav, certain conditions on the soul. But if soul desires, it can try to overcome those conditions. Okay, this is our whole struggle in spiritual life, to try to overcome the limitations posed by the body, by our svabhav. Okay, so we're trying to rise above the gunas or above the three modes of material nature. If we are in tamasic, nobody can say that, oh, I'm tamasic, that's why I just keep getting angry, or I keep getting intoxicated, or keep sleeping and wasting my time because I'm in tamasic svabhav. No, but it is the responsibility of the soul to rise above that tamas, right? So if the soul desires, so the soul has to use its own free will. It has to desire, it has to use that free will to desire in such a way that Krishna's purpose will be solved. By being tamasic, Krishna's service cannot be done. By being too much ambitious or rajasic, also Krishna's service may not be done, or it may be done that way. So soul has to desire to rise above the limitations, the conditions posed by the body. Okay, it has to try to rise itself above the three gunas. But if we just helplessly give in to the conditions, to the gunas, then we just identify with this body. This is what I am, and then he will suffer. Okay, because he's helplessly serving the body. He's just a victim of the body. Instead of becoming a master of the city of nine gates, he has become a victim of the senses, victim of his mind and intelligence. They are ruling him. He is not able to control them. They are imposing on him what to do, what not to do, and he's just doing whatever they tell him. Whatever the senses tell him to eat, he starts eating them. Whatever the mind tells him to think or be fearful of, or start imagining, that those are the things they start imagining or thinking or feeling or fearing, like that. But if you understand your Krishna consciousness, your real position, then you can come out of that embodiment. You start working in service of Krishna, start overcoming the three gunas, the conditions of the body, and become aloof from the bodily activities. Understand that body will impose on you, but you have to just try to control it, try to become its master, its controller, try to limit it, not become enslaved to it, but rather control it yourself. So this is the understanding here. So such a person is neither working nor causing work to be done. I think this point is clear. He has his desires are aligned with Krishna, so he's not creating more activities in the world because he's not working for himself. He's just doing whatever is needed as per part of Krishna's service. Let's stop here. Let's take just for a few minutes some questions, realizations. Two main concepts of fifth chapter are, okay, please know this. At the end of this chapter, we need to know these two concepts. And there may be more, but for now, I can just think of these two. One is the concept of free will. Okay, everybody has a free will. Krishna does not impose on Jiva's free will. We are not, Krishna wants us to be his servant out of love and affection for him, not as a slave. Okay, so Krishna does not impose on our free will. Within the realm of our free will, we have that minute independence. We can desire. So we have the freedom to desire. Okay, that's the soul's function, to desire. So we can desire in such a way that it is aligned with Krishna, or we can desire in such a way that we get entangled in this world. We get more and more involved in this world, absorbed in this world. So one desire will take us away from Krishna, another type of desire will take us towards Krishna. This free will has been given to us. Krishna does not interfere with it. Okay. This concept of free will, please understand. Second concept, which we'll discuss in future classes, is the concept of three doers. Okay. There are three doers, three things that are needed for an action to happen. One is the soul who desires. Okay. Second is the prakriti, or the three modes of material nature, this material world, which facilitates. And third is the Paramatma, which sanctions. So the soul desires. Once soul desires, Paramatma will sanction that desire. Once Paramatma sanctions, then Prakriti will facilitate it. Okay. So we should never think that if something happened, if we did something and a positive result came out, something became successful, we are not the only doer. Without Paramatma's sanction and without Prakriti facilitating, things will not happen. So I'm not the only doer. So you cannot take all the credit for whatever good happens in this world by your actions. And similarly, you should not become too disappointed or discouraged when something does not go per your desire, because that means Paramatma did not sanction and Prakriti did not facilitate. So the concept of three doers, with Krishna will elaborate in next few verses. Those are the two things I can think of. Of course, Karma Yoga is the underlying theme of this whole chapter, working for satisfaction of Krishna. So ultimately, there is no anxiety either about work or about the results of work. See if anybody has any questions.
So, Mataji, can I ask one question?
Yes.
So the desires as are coming from the soul. So is that true for all the kind of desires? Any kind of desires?
Yes, Mataji. That's my understanding. Like, do you have some specific, you want to give example?
No. So spiritual versus material. So if there is a spiritual desire that is coming from the soul, if there is a material desire, somebody like materialists who are after sense gratification, all those desires are coming from the soul, then what is the function of the mind and the subtle kind of I was referring to chapter 2, 55, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 55, where Krishna says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from the mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in the pure transcendental consciousness."
I got your question.
Okay,
Let
thank you.
me try to explain it. Very nice question, very deep question actually. So I'll have to write it to see if everybody, first of all, understands the question, and then, okay. So this is how it is. So soul, okay, if it will write, yes. Soul desires, right? We said soul desires. All the desires come from soul, okay? Now desires can be material or spiritual. So just bear with me, okay? So when soul has material desire, it means that soul thinks it is the body. Is that right? He's in false ego. He wants to cater to the body.
Yes.
That's why he wants, let's say, a fame, money, stuff like that. He wants a position. Let's say somebody wants to be CEO. He wants to make a name for himself. So that means he's identifying with the body. He has some material desires, right? So he has false ego. He's in bodily identification. Okay, so this soul is a Baddha Jiva, which is having material desires. But let's say at our level, sadhakas, we have some material desires, some spiritual desires. So the spiritual desires are also coming from the soul. This is just for I think you know this. I'm just saying it for everybody. Spiritual desires means we understand that we are not this body. We are in true ego. We are servant of Krishna. So we are trying to explore that relationship. So that's why I want to, let's say, learn, 10 verses of Bhagavad Gita. I want to do a very nice kirtan for pleasure of Krishna, because I know that I'm servant of Krishna. So I want to immerse more and more in relationship with Krishna through various means available to me. So that is a spiritual desire. So that means I know to some extent that I'm servant of Krishna. To some extent, sometimes I go in bodily consciousness and I develop material desires also, right? This is our situation. Is that this part is understandable, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, now coming to your question. So what Mataji is asking is very beautiful. We often say mind has three functions: thinking, willing, and feeling. Okay. Willing, I'll just focus on willing. Willing means having desires. Okay. Willing means having desires. So if I understand your question right, Mataji, you're saying, if you're saying the desires come from soul, what is the role of mind when we say that it is the mind that creates all these desires, that things are mentally concocted, right? Prabhupada
Yes,
often say,
Mataji.
this is
Yes.
your question, right? That all these are coming from, this is mental concoction. Okay. So Mataji, mind is nothing but a tool of the body in desiring. Okay. So let's say soul, and this is gross body. Okay. Mind is basically helping us perceive the world. Okay. Mind is telling us that mind is creating this false ego. Mind is solidifying this false ego. Okay. Mind is keeping the soul attached to the body. Mind is saying that you are this body, you should get name, you should get fame, you should become CEO, you should work extra hard to make this much money. By the end of this year, you should have $20,000 in your bank, whatever. So mind is creating, concocting based on because the mind is hearing what the world is telling it. Mind is perceiving everything from the world, from the body, from the senses. Okay. So mind is taking this all in. Mind is that tool. So mind is creating this concocted ideas that it is very important to be successful in this world, or nobody will take you seriously. Sheetal Mataji, what are you doing? You should have $10,000. If not, then you're not a success. Mind is creating this concoction for the soul. So it is so that's why it is implanting these desires. So the soul is now being convinced by the mind. Remember that hierarchy where the soul should control the mind and mind should control the body. But here, what is happening is mind is being controlled by the world and by the body, creating these, getting convinced by the world, by the misconceptions of this world, okay? And convincing the soul that it is a good desire to have. This is a good desire. We should have this much money. We should buy the next car I'm going to buy is a Tesla. So, because otherwise, what would people think if I don't have a Tesla? So mind is the tool, mind is the instrument, which is creating these desires. So that's why we have to purify all these things. Does that make sense, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. So it's more like it's the avenue for the soul to
Mm.
kind of like an instrument, like you
Yeah.
said. So and that will go for even like good desires, like spiritual desires, I meant, like not.
Yes. 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 Perfect. Yeah. So remember, desires is basically the basis of the existence of this world.
Correct.
So yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you, Mataji.
yeah. Mind is just a tool, basically. Just like heart is a tool for pumping the blood, mind is pumping these desires into the soul that we should do this, we should do that. So the more we absorb our mind in Krishna, the more we cultivate spiritual desires. Okay. Anybody else has anything? This was a beautiful question, Mataji, very deep. Anybody else has any questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
So it's okay to have material desires, but slowly, get engaged into Krishna consciousness, and then that will help us not have material desires. Is that the goal?
Yes, yes, to gradually get purified because it's not easy. Our mind is very powerful, right? Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balvadridam. Arjun says in 6th chapter that mind is very strong. Tasyaham nigraham mane vayoreva sudushkaram. That I think mind cannot be controlled. I can control wind, Arjun said. With my bows and arrows, I can control wind, but I cannot control mind. So the desires are very strong, and we are in constant association of this world. We have constant sangha, more than satsanga. We have satsanga is very limited. Satsanga happens like 2-3 times a month or once a week, like this with Bhagavad Gita. Maybe once a day we are reading Bhagavatam or chanting. So satsanga happens very little, but majority of the times it's the sangha of the world. So the desires keep coming. Apuryamanam achla pratishtam. So they're like, Krishna says in 2nd chapter that they're like rivers in the ocean. They keep coming. So what you have to do is, so we have discussed this before, 3 things to do. Very bad desires that are just very harmful to your spiritual activities, to your spiritual growth, okay? Just immediately do not even engage them. Do not even engage the mind. Just completely block them, okay? And any harmful desires, okay? Harmful meaning like intoxication, enjoying with the opposite gender, like those 4 regulative principles, right? Breaking those, for example, are very or meat eating. So harmful desires, just completely block them, completely tell the mind a firm no, okay? Certain desires, the spiritual desires, you should encourage, you should cultivate, you should give positive feedback to mind and do more and more, right? But we struggle as sadhakas with the middle type of desires, which somehow seem helpful to us, like making money, like they're good. They can be purified. So all these things can be purified. Purified means that if you're making money, you give some portion of that money for charity, for donations. If you are traveling, you can visit temples. You can try to engage in extra chanting. You can do certain extra things when you are traveling. So certain desires, you can use portions of those or parts of those for service of Krishna and slowly purify them. Completely harmful ones avoid, completely positive, helpful ones encourage, and the middle ones that you're not sure about or that you struggle with, slowly purify them, but engage portions of them. Try to try to dovetail them as much in service of Krishna as possible. Try to align portions of those with service of Krishna as much as possible. Is that okay, Madhu?
Yes, Mataji, that helps because in our grahastha life, it's not possible to not have desires to do well for our kids, or accumulate some wealth for the future of our kids and all of that. So
Yeah.
in there we are seeking material wealth in some, not to some, but to a lot of degree. So
Yeah, and that we have talked about this before, right? These things we use as an example, like name, fame, wealth. We're not saying to not have them, right? You understand? I hope that point is clear. These things are
yeah.
just used because these are the most cherished things in the world. They're considered the measures of success by people. Over and beyond spiritual success, they're considered the measures of success. That's why we use them. But does not mean if you see Srimad Bhagavatam, very important quality of Srimad Bhagavatam is, okay, let me ask you this. There is Maharaj Ambrish, there is Prahlad Maharaj, there is Dhruv Maharaj, there is Parikshit Maharaj, there is Yudhishthir Maharaj, there is Prithu Maharaj. What is common in all these people that I just named?
They were all like kings, and
They're all
they're
Maharaj.
coming from Maharaj. Yes.
They're all Maharaj, which means they're wealthy, very rich, prosperous people living a very luxurious life, right? So that's why Bhagavatam takes their examples. Bhagavatam does not give the examples of sages and saints and brahmacharis or sannyasis. Why? Because they have already surrendered their life to Krishna. Bhagavatam is taking the example of very successful, accomplished people who are very well situated, who are top notch in their profession, at their job, who are very well liked and famous, and a lot of followers and a lot of prosperity. They have armies at their disposal and vast kingdoms at their disposal. Why are these people used as example? Because these people use everything, first of all, many reasons, but first of all, they use everything in service of Krishna. Okay, whatever they do, they are accumulating, let's say they're using these things, but they're not overly ambitious. They're satisfied also. So when the time comes to leave these things, like Parikshit Maharaj or Yudhishthir Maharaj, right, they do not complain, they do not criticize, they do not blame, they just leave. They're very detached. So in a very detached way, they use everything for service. And when the time comes to leave, they're able to leave without any complaints, without any grudges or resentments or anything. So they're not attached to their positions or fame or followers. Those things are just there for service of Krishna. And they always take shelter of Krishna when the time comes. And not only they take shelter of Krishna, they have to take shelter of Krishna, because there is no savior other than Krishna, even for these people, even for such accomplished people. So Bhagavatam proves a point that no matter how much wealth or anything, any influential friends you have friends in government, in law, in police department, whatnot, nobody can save you when the difficulty comes. Only Krishna can save you. And these people proved that point, that they were so influential, they had all their resources to back them, and yet they ultimately not only relied on Krishna out of their free will, but also had to rely on Krishna, because for even the best of the people, there is no hope other than Krishna. I'm debating from the point, and the point that I wanted to make was that there is a balance between ambition versus satisfaction. We should not think that we cannot be ambitious, but we should be ambitious to the degree which allows us to serve in service of Krishna, which allows us to become a tool of service in this world for people, to become a tool of satisfaction or service of Krishna, not just ambitious for the sake of hoarding money and hoarding, or just to lord it over people, to become arrogant and proprietor of this world, to claim false possessions of things and people and exploit them. Not in that mood, but so that I can render my best service possible, you may have to achieve a certain destination in life. You may have to achieve a certain position in life, even to render your best service. So maybe you need to become a CEO in order to render your best service, because that's where you're most valuable. And that's why Prabhupada used to encourage devotees to take leadership roles, that they should go into government, they should become the CEOs, they should become the top-notch people in their departments and in their corporations, because everything trickles downwards from top down. So if the topmost person is Krishna consciousness, that consciousness will pervade into the entire corporation, into the entire community, the society, the country. So the top-notch people should be Krishna conscious people. So devotees should actually be ambitious, but ambitious in relation to Krishna, in using that position, that name, fame, followers, money as a tool of service, not just for personal gains and exploitation of other people. So that's the understanding there. I think we'll stop. We've exceeded the time quite a bit. So we'll join next Sunday. Please join Ramchandra Prabhu's program next Saturday evening. And we also have a short program at ICCT Temple in the morning. We'll share both the details, both the programs in the group. Thank you so much for joining. Very, very grateful to each and every one of you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vanchakaltarubhishya kripa
Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji.